owned and operated. With the ability to market luxury homes on a higher scale than ever before, Century 21 Benefit Realty has taken a huge step forward to tap into a global network of buyers. Maximum exposure to spotlight your unique home with our fine homes and estates marketing so you can sell it for the highest price. And with no upfront fees and 1.9% real estate commission, you win. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
Tell us a little bit about innovative signs.
We're located out in Waukesha. Where we are really focused mostly is manufacturing outdoor electrical signs.
You came to Horicon Bank. How do you think other local businesses can benefit?
When I call, Michelle picks up the phone, and when I email, she responds in a timely manner. A few years ago, I talked to my accountant about shopping around looking for a different bank just to get some alternatives, and he said, absolutely not. You're not going to like working for a big bank. They have a lot more regulations. So that's how we got involved with Cornerstone Bank. When Horicon purchased Cornerstone, we came along for the ride, and it's been great.
No matter how many people are in your family, buying new jackets for the cold weather months can be expensive. But when you shop St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores, prices on cold weather jackets will give you a sigh of relief because thrift store prices mean great deals. And right now we have a great selection. Find great deals on cold weather jackets for the family at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
Ooh, you're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Built Right Furniture, Leather, and Mattress.
You gotta get to Built Right today.
The Lucaless Mavericks return to face the Bucks.
And Lopez, three-pointer from deep, and he buries it from the left side. That could be your dagger tonight.
Our coverage starts tonight at 6 with Buck Shoot-Around. We are your home for the Milwaukee Bucks. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
It's 11 o'clock. This is Wisconsin's Midday News. I'm Greg Matzek. It's Wednesday, March 5th. Your top story, a teen in custody for killing his mother.
I'm Jessica Tighe. Are changes coming to the tariffs?
Might want to stay inside today. A wind advisory goes into effect at 2 o'clock. It'll run to midnight for all of southeastern Wisconsin. Gusts up to 45 miles an hour. AM rain going to turn into afternoon and evening snow, going to be very slushy. Major accumulations to the north central part of the state. It's going to be kind of nasty tonight. A low of 24. 41 and cloudy in Milwaukee with temperatures falling at 11:01. From the WTMJ breaking newsroom, a mother is found stabbed to death in Caledonia and her teenage son is in custody.
When police arrived at the Caledonia home late Tuesday, a 15-year-old boy immediately surrendered to authorities. Officers inside the home found a woman dead that was later identified as the boy's mother. An initial investigation indicates the woman was stabbed and also suffered blunt force trauma. The teen now faces homicide charges and remains in custody this morning, though his identity has not been made public. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
Welcome, Dr. Casillas. We're excited to work alongside you as we continue to build a bright future for our students and our schools.
Milwaukee Public Schools reaches a contract agreement with new superintendent Dr. Brenda Casillas. Dr. Casillas will start leading MPS in just 10 days on March 15th. Her contract is 2 years. The board also approved an agreement with the city of Milwaukee regarding school resource officers. The cost to place the officers in schools will be split 50-50 between both sides.
The Supreme Court says U.S. aid must follow a lower court's order to pay international aid groups, despite the Trump administration's effort to pause that funding.
The Supreme Court's 5-4 decision leaves in place a judge's order requiring USAID to pay nearly $2 billion for services that have already been provided.
We have to ask some very key questions.
This audio, obtained exclusively by ABC News, has a senior Trump administration official explaining to stakeholders why the funding pause was necessary. A representative of World Vision, the Christian aid group, aired a complaint.
We're bankrolling U.S. government-funded programs out of private money.
Some outfits say they risk going under without the government funds. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
A big question out there this morning are potential changes coming to President Trump's tariffs on Canada and Mexico.
Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick said Wednesday morning that President Trump will announce adjustments to the 25% tariffs he put in place this week on products coming into the U.S. from Mexico and Canada. Lutnick said there will be tariffs. The president isn't lifting them entirely, but signaled the president's thinking about sectors that could see relief, including the auto industry. The Commerce Secretary said the president's listening to offers from Mexico and Canada and thinking about trying to do, quote, something in the middle. The president's expected to speak to Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau today and Mexico's President Sheinbaum Thursday. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
And this coming after 2 days of major losses in the stock market. What else could be hit?
It's always the consumers that will be hit ultimately with this.
That's James Vanderloo, head of the OEC Group Milwaukee. He told us on Wisconsin's Afternoon News how quickly we could see these prices go up at the stores.
We heard from the CEOs of Best Buy and some others that you're going to be feeling this in potentially weeks.
Because anything that now leaves from Canada, Mexico, or China is subject to those tariffs. Julia Fellow, WTMJ News.
Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is up today 115 points at 42,636. NASDAQ is off at 25 points in the red, 18,258. And the S&P 500 bouncing back and forth 6 points in the negative today at 57.72. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. It's financial planning at every level. For details, visit annexwealth.com.
The Bucks are back home tonight after winning 7 of the last 8. We'll look ahead to the game tonight and where they stand overall. Sports, traffic, and weather coming up. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is coming up at 11:05.
Hey Bucks fans, it's Justin Garcia from the Bucks Radio Network, here to tell you about the launch of the Bucks Central podcast feed. Everything Bucks, on demand, in one spot. From sideline to sideline, hear all the ankle-breaking, rim-rattling, and twine-tingling highlights, exclusive interviews, and more. Subscribe to the Bucks Central podcast feed wherever you get your podcasts. All the Bucks content your heart desires in one spot. Check out the Bucks Central podcast feed.
For over a century, local broadcasting has evolved with the needs of the community. We move past the stigmas of opinion journalism and bring the most relevant news online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
You wake up feeling like you just boxed 12 rounds. Some wake up sweating with sore jaws, headaches, and a lot of our patients complain of brain fog. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula, and these signs, often joined with snoring, are sleep apnea symptoms. And if this sounds like you may have been in a struggle last night between you and this serious disorder. Many people aren't willing to fight back. But the fact is, you can't go through these nightly struggles without ramifications that each night chip away at your life's expiration date. I get it. You don't want to wear a CPAP mask. You may find out you don't need one. We have every effective sleep apnea solution available. And believe me, the mask is the last resort.
It's time to take action to stop your sleep struggle. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
AdventKnows.com.
Results may vary. Most insurance accepted.
Time for WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports desk. The Bucks are back on the home floor one night after defeating the Hawks in Atlanta. Coverage begins after the 6 o'clock news on WTMJ. Doc Rivers' Bucks have won 7 of 8. They're 10 games above 500.
Everybody on our team is over themselves. There's no stuff, what I call clutter. The guys just play together. They want to do right. It's an absolutely fantastic team to coach.
Bucks are currently tied at the Pacers for 4th place in the Eastern Conference playoff standings. College basketball tonight, 20th ranked Marquette on the road at UConn for a 7:30 tip. Hear it on 94.5 ESPN. 12th ranked Badgers visit Minnesota. UW tied for 4th place in the Big Ten standings. And the Brewers continue Cactus League play today against the White Sox. Our next broadcast scheduled for Thursday night against the A's.
Taking a look at the roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. We do have a new crash that just popped up minutes ago. It's in Milwaukee County, 4145 North, the ramp from Capitol Drive. The left shoulder is blocked due to a crash. I'm taking a peek at the video right now. I do see that there's support out there. One of the cars involved is facing the wrong way. So never good news with that. We do have traffic moving around slowly as it goes past that crash. Also slowly because the roads are wet.
I feel like traffic's going to be a thing later this afternoon and evening. Got that wind advisory going into effect at 2 o'clock. It'll run through midnight for all of southeastern Wisconsin. And the rain's going to convert to snow here. Windy, falling temps. That snow's going to pile up. It's going to be slushy. You're going to get major accumulations to the north central part of the state. Anywhere from 7 to 10 inches if you're way up north.
That's a lot.
That counts as a blizzard, no doubt about that. Won't be as bad here in southeastern Wisconsin, but there will be some accumulation. It's going to be wet, so take your time getting home later today. It's currently 41 degrees. Temps starting to fall, however, in Milwaukee at 11:09.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios in downtown Milwaukee, it's Wisconsin's Midday News, making stories come to life. Now, here are your hosts, Greg Matzek and Jessica Tighe.
Now, usually when we come into the studio, Jeff Sherman kindly holds the door for us, and we walk in, right? We're always carrying a laptop, phone, maybe a coffee. We have our hands full.
Oh, yeah.
And Jeff is usually there to open the door. I did not anticipate Sidney Moncrief holding the door as I was coming into the studio today. Whoa, was that a flashback?
A childhood hero of yours.
Oh, my gosh. Sidney Moncrief was on the same pedestal to me as Robin Yount.
That's huge.
And the Brewers. So growing up, just getting into Bucks basketball was kind of Moncrief's heyday. He averaged 20 points per game plus 5 years in a row, while also being top 3 in Defensive Player of the Year voting 4 years in a row, 5-time All-Star. He averaged 20 points a game when 3 balls were not flying. There were 3 years where he didn't attempt more than 33s in a year and still averaged over 20 points a game.
Is he getting back out on the court tonight now that the Bucks are home just for fun?
They might use him. I'm very curious to see who the Bucks trot out tonight on night 2 of a back-to-back against a Mavericks team that is just decimated with injuries and some self-sabotage after trading away their best player. But I know you'll be in the stands tonight. Maybe they'll have you play in the second quarter.
You know what? I could always do a little layup. I'm short, but I could do. I could do it.
Just knock down an open shot.
I've seen some amazing fans hit some amazing half-court shots too within the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, that's always fun to watch. 11:10. Yes, the Bucks are back on the home floor tonight. The Brewers are playing in Arizona. We're on top of some big stories here this morning.
And now it's time for 3 Big Things on Wisconsin's Midday News.
Number 1.
Citizens, America is back.
President Trump's address last night was the longest speech to Congress in history and immediately polarizing. Republicans cheered, Democrats jeered. One representative was actually kicked out of the chamber, an unprecedented move. House Speaker Mike Johnson explains why he ordered Representative Al Green's removal, even though Republicans have taunted Democratic presidents during addresses to Congress.
The only example I can think of is one, the famous Joe Wilson, where he uttered something in a Barack Obama speech, but he quieted down immediately and was quiet for the rest of the night. Al Green was trying to interrupt the entire proceeding.
CBS congressional correspondent Scott McFarland joins us here in Wisconsin's Midday News every Wednesday at 12:35. He was there for the president's speech last night, and he says there was a horribly tense feeling in the chamber throughout the speech. We'll learn more when he joins us live next hour.
Newly released court documents reveal lawyers for accused killer Brian Kohberger argue he should not have to face the death penalty at his upcoming trial because of an autism diagnosis.
Both prosecutors and the defense making requests about the upcoming trial. Prosecutors want victims' family members allowed in court for the entire trial, while the defense wants lawyers and witnesses banned from using the words psychopath and sociopath. No ruling yet on those requests. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
Kohberger, you might remember the story from 2022. He's charged with 4 counts of murder in the deaths of 4 students who were killed in the morning of November 13th. 2022 at a rental home near the University of Idaho, that campus in Moscow, Idaho. The trial is expected to begin August 11th, and they're expecting it to last about 3 months. But the defense team saying we'd like the death penalty removed as an option for his conviction, which we anticipate to happen at some level, just not exactly sure how it's going to look.
Such a horrible story. It captivated so many people. Well, number 3, COVID-19 hits the 5-year mark. It was March 2020 when our lives changed due to the coronavirus. Most of the world found itself isolated to their homes as COVID-19 quickly spread. It was a last-ditch attempt to slow the spread of a virus that had already killed thousands of people around the world. Remember this? We started incorporating new phrases like flatten the curve, safer at home, and social distancing. Stocks tumbled over worries over the global pandemic. Testing started on cruise ship passengers. Airlines started seeing their bookings drop. And the EPA told us which disinfectants we could use to fight the coronavirus. I remember being in Target and being like, okay, is this one going to work? Wisconsin had just one case on this day 5 years ago, but that would quickly change, as we all know. Coming up in our next half hour, we'll reflect on our personal memories from 5 years ago. We both have some interesting stories here. My husband had just flown an NBA team that was ordered the next day to self-quarantine due to coronavirus, so I remember tracking all the new developments coming in, wondering if he was going to have to quarantine as well. And Greg, you were just back from Brewer spring training and working with your wife to get her back from Italy.
Yeah, my wife's mother was in Italy as Donald Trump closed the borders. We had to very quickly act to get her and her group that she was traveling with back from overseas. That was, I remember exactly how it all played out that night.
Yeah, so both some very different but interesting stories, and we'll share more on that coming up at 11:50.
Yeah, from COVID to measles. That's the issue in Texas right now. It's also revealing some cases in other states. We'll get the latest from ABC's Jim Ryan after this.
The only place to get this.
Right hand reverse is good. Timeout Hawks, as it's Dame time once again for Milwaukee.
With some of this.
The Bucks outscored the Atlanta Hawks in those minutes with no Giannis and no Damian Lillard in the fourth quarter. And the biggest reason why Kevin Porter Jr. started to take over offensively.
Get it all on Bucks Talk, your all-encompassing Milwaukee Bucks postgame show. Only heard here on the home of the Bucks, WTMJ.
Do you have a written financial plan? Hi, I'm Aaron Kowal of Kowal Investment Group. We have recently joined Creative Planning, a national registered investment advisor. This move allows us to provide more comprehensive wealth management services to help with all aspects of your finances, including your investments, taxes, estate plan, and more. At Creative Planning, we understand life is busy, and sometimes important things like retirement planning can fall to the wayside. So I'm here to remind you to take time to plan. A 1-hour complimentary consultation with our fiduciary advisors will help you get started on the path to your dream retirement. We will review your current financial situation, your goals and needs, and help you plan for life's what-ifs. Don't delay planning for your future any longer. And even if you already have a plan, a second opinion from our advisors can help determine if there are adjustments to make. Kowal Investment Group is now Creative Planning. Visit creativeplanning.com to get started. That's creativeplanning.com.
Debbie Loziga here for Kohler Services. If you've been putting off your bath or shower remodel, now's the time to turn to Kohler Services. Family owned for 150 years, Kohler is your Wisconsin manufacturer providing care for life. This month only, get $1,000 off your Luckstone shower remodel and no payment financing until 2026. Visit KohlerServicesWI.com to request your free quote with fast professional installation always included. That's KohlerServicesWI.com.
Wind advisory goes into effect at 2 o'clock this afternoon and stays until midnight. Gusts upwards of 40 to 50 miles per hour. It's going to be nasty. By that time, once we get to those wind gusts, we should see that rain converting over to snow. There will be some slushy accumulation here in southeastern Wisconsin. If you're living in the north central part of the state, you are already seeing some significant snowfall and even some blizzard conditions. So not quite that here in southeastern Wisconsin, but still something to contend with, especially given the timing. It's going to start and likely be a thing during your afternoon and evening commute. 41 degrees right now. Temperatures slowly starting to dip. Cloudy conditions in Milwaukee at 11:17. Well, measles continues to be a thing, with isolated infections now reported in 10 total states, but the outbreak in Texas only seems to be getting worse. ABC's Jim Ryan is in Texas, where how many confirmed cases are there now, Jim, and how many hospitalizations?
159 cases. The note you have probably, Greg, says 158. Well, they had another one that was confirmed overnight. So 159 confirmed cases of measles as a part of this West Texas outbreak. 22 people have been hospitalized. We know of one fatality directly related to measles. That was a child who had not been vaccinated and died last week in Lubbock.
I think some people need to be reminded about this. How deadly is measles? And also a big question right now, why? Why is there a measles outbreak?
Well, because of low vaccination rates, bluntly. In West Texas, something like 18% of school-age children do not have their vaccinations. Parents have signed waivers saying they don't want them to get vaccinated. Around the country, the rate is more like 3 or 4%. So the very high unvaccinated rate out there, one of the highest in the whole country, as people travel around and they go to some place where measles might be and they bring it back into the community. You don't show symptoms in many cases for a couple of days, Jessica. So you might be walking around infecting other people and not even realize it. Then you start showing symptoms, you get that cough, you get a high fever, you get the rash. About 20% of the people who get measles end up in the hospital. That's how serious it is. So, yeah, right now with 29 people in the hospital, some of them in pretty rough shape, and many of them children. We're told some of them children who've been ventilated.
It's a scary situation, Jim, and I know early reporting indicated that several of these outbreaks were within a Mennonite community. They believe in living very simply. They believe in following Jesus. They believe in reconciling love and conflicts. They live a very simple life. Vaccination, not really on their radar. Should it be? I mean, is it coming into view where if you want to save your own population, whether it's Mennonite or otherwise, you should probably take a look at this?
Well, I read a great piece about that a couple of days ago about the Mennonite community, and it focused squarely on one Mennonite church and the leadership there. The head of the church was saying, look, RFK Jr. knows a lot more than I do about this stuff, and we'll just follow his lead. Well, RFK Jr., while he has softened his anti-vaccination stance somewhat, still believes that it should be left to individuals to decide whether to get vaccinated. And in fact, yesterday he was touting vitamin A and cod liver oil as potential treatments. And the medical community says that doesn't help, it doesn't work, it doesn't treat measles in any way. But still, folks in the Mennonite community are willing to say, okay, well, I'll just leave it to family members, and family members can decide one way or the other. The Texas Department of State Health Services is urging people to go and get the shot and wishing that RFK Jr. would do likewise. So far, he has not.
Yeah, it seems like he's hinting that the vaccination is important these days, but not fully embracing it. He's not coming out and saying, everybody make sure you have it.
Right. He does say that it's an important way to prevent measles, to keep it from spreading around within communities. But at the same time, he bluntly says it should be left up to people to decide whether they should get the shot and not state or federal law.
Well, speaking of feds, how are federal agencies, including the CDC, helping with this?
Well, the CDC is now sending, quote, disease detectives, is what they call them, to West Texas to help out with the measles outbreak there. Now, how this is going to work in a Trump CDC where so many people have been let go, has the ideology changed? Will the CDC not necessarily start promoting vaccination? The Trump administration has said, and RFK Jr. has said, that vaccine will be made readily available to the people out in West Texas. The state has been running vaccination clinics, and people have been lining up and getting themselves and getting their kids vaccinated. So something appears to be working, but that's how the CDC is looking at this now. Sending these disease detectives down to West Texas to have a look.
It's a massive state, obviously, Jim. You know that West Texas is about the size of some smaller states around the country, some moderately sized states for that matter. How is this being viewed in other parts of the state, right? The Panhandle area or in San Antonio or Austin?
With concern. People are watching out there to see what happens. These are, you're right, Greg, this is a remote part of West Texas. It's very rural. Small communities kind of gathered together and connected by people who visit one town or another. But in Houston, which is clear across the state, and you're talking 6 million people who now are looking at the possibility that it could spread into their community. Now, vaccination rates in the big cities, in Dallas and in Houston and San Antonio and Austin, are much higher than they are out in West Texas. That should offer some protection, but still, health officials in those communities are concerned that it could spread into their cities.
Well, and you talk about spread. I was also wondering about spreading to other states because Texas is now the only state with measles cases. And as soon as this popped up, I thought, oh, great, could we be next here in Wisconsin?
Well, something like 9 states do have cases of their own, but these are considered isolated cases not connected to the one here in Texas. And in fact, just over the state line into Mexico, they've had a few cases, but those too, according to medical experts, are not connected to the West Texas outbreak. So it does happen. RFK Jr. did mention that last week, saying that, yeah, these outbreaks do happen occasionally, and he's right, they do. But this one in West Texas is historic. Not in 30 years have they had anything like that. And now the deepest concentration in the whole country is there in West Texas.
ABC's Jim Ryan from Texas. We appreciate it, Jim. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix-It Show with David Nason, featuring this week's guest, Capital Heating and Cooling and J&B Construction. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. And at 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact Annex Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at annexwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ.
Well, it's going to be wet and sloppy tonight. Why not make it easy for dinner? Just make it a Palermo's night. Got to be happy with that decision, I promise you. You, whoever's popping that pizza in the oven, and whoever's eating it at dinner tonight. Palermo's, Wisconsin's hometown pizza. They got a slice for every appetite. And the best part is you're supporting local while eating great. Palermo's, proudly made in Wisconsin, celebrating its 60th anniversary. Pretty amazing stuff. Big fan of the Screamin' Sicilian. Love the tavern-style pizzas made by Screamin' Sicilian. How about this? 2 for $9 now through March 11th at your local Festival Foods. That's right, Screamin' Sicilian tavern-style pizzas. 2 for $9, limited time only, now through March 11th at your local Festival Foods. Stock up the cart, then bring it home, stock up the freezer, put one in the oven tonight. Everyone's going to be happy. Make it a Palermo's night. Wisconsin's hometown pizza.
WDTMJ's Eric Bilstead here for QC Kinetics. You know, I get a lot of questions about QC Kinetics treatments, people asking if they should consider it for their own joint pain. Well, here's how you know. If you answer yes to any of these questions. Is your quality of life impacted by chronic pain in your knees or hips or shoulders or other joints, trouble sleeping or walking? Do you want to avoid surgery, a long recovery, and uncertainty that comes with it? And most importantly, do you miss doing the things you love because joint pain is holding you back? If you answered yes to any of these questions, don't wait. Call now. Call QC Kinetics and ask for your free consultation and learn how the latest advances in regenerative medicine can help you get lasting relief. No drugs, no surgery, no downtime. 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics today for your free consultation. 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics today.
So I texted my hairdresser this morning and I said, hey, do you have any openings for a haircut coming up soon? I always wait till the last minute. It's always way too long. I'm like, oh, shoot, I got to get in. So she knows me like that. I said, also, have you heard of recession hair? And she's like, yeah, I can take you at this time. And yes, that's thinning of the hair, which made me laugh because I didn't mean like a receding hairline, but that's probably what a lot of people think of when they hear recession hair.
Well, I'm more familiar with that, yes.
Right? But here's the thing. Recession hair is not what happens when your hairline retreats from your forehead. It is reluctantly keeping an inch or two of natural roots as a personal economic indicator. And a lot of women are embracing this as a new beauty trend of 2025. The bottom line is, if you're dyeing your hair, which at some point I'm going to have to do, but I am reluctantly not doing it just yet. At some point, you know, it gets expensive, right? And actually, we should let Gina, can you chime in? Because I know you put some color in your hair. I mean, it's costly.
Oh, it's super expensive. It's a big investment to keep it a certain color that's not your natural.
So how often, though? Is it like once a month? Is it once every 2 months?
So I try to space it every 4, 5-ish. But when you let the natural root grow out, you can kind of space it almost to like 5, 6.
Okay.
Oh, and see, that's longer than I thought. I know some people do it even more often. But yeah, so some people are going as far as making a chart on social media now. They're saying like an inch of roots means Christmas was expensive. It's like cracks me up. 2 inches of roots. So if you see a woman walking around with 2 inches of roots, it might indicate that you were broke even before Halloween.
Okay, well, that's interesting. I love that your hairdresser got back with a very very logical sort of explanation for what is going on. Yes, recession hair. Your hairline is starting to recede.
So it might mean that her customers, just keep coming, and they're like, nope, still got to do it, which is probably the case. But this also kind of reminded me of during the pandemic, and we were just talking about that because COVID hitting the 5-year anniversary, the 5-year mark, and I do remember, I definitely didn't go in to get my hair cut. I remember cutting my husband's hair. That was wild. Putting him, I'm like, okay, I need you on your knees. Like, got the scissors with him in the mirror, cutting his hair. And also, I typically get my nails done, and I do a shellac for all the ladies out there just because I like it. It lasts long. It's just quick, easy. It's dry very quickly, and I can just, boom, go about my day, right? So I took that off, and I didn't do my nails for a long time because, number one, you couldn't, and two, it's costly. So I know there are a lot of women who, since the pandemic, they started doing their own nails, or maybe they just decided not to get them done anymore. They realized how much they were saving during the pandemic and no longer do it. So that reminds me a little bit about this recession hair.
Recession hair. I understand it. I just cannot relate. It's 11:28. News is next.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here for Tri-County Contracting. You want to know the price of a new roof on your home today? Well, it's easy. Just go to TriCountyContracting.com, click on the Instant Roof Quote button, put in your address and email, click the Show My Roof Price, and there you go. Zero wait time. There's your quote. You shop online for everything else. Who says you can't shop online for a new roof? Tri-County Contracting at WI.com. It's worry-free roofing, siding, and windows. Tri-County Contracting, WI.com.
Nestled in the heart of the Kettle Moraine Forest lies the historic Fox and Hounds Supper Club. WTMJ's John Mercure here. I love the Fox and Hounds. Journey through 90 years of history in the timbered stone structure. It's gorgeous. And when you buy one dinner, your second dinner is free 7 days a week. An amazing deal at an amazing place. Choice steaks, ribs, seafood, pasta, a big fresh salad, even the steak and lobster, any entree, your second dinner's free. The Fox and Hounds desserts, and I love those, and huge ice cream drinks, buy one, get one free. Unwind with an old-fashioned, a Manhattan, 20 bourbons on their bourbon list, over 100 fine wines, 8 elegant dining rooms with real wood-burning fireplaces. Wherever you live, it's worth the spectacular drive through the Kettle Moraine for your free dinner. Just off Highway 167, 2 miles east of Holy Hill, a Top Choice Award winner for fine dining and most romantic restaurant. Take your family to the Fox and Hounds this week. Half your dinners are free. I love this place. FoxandHoundsRestaurant.com.
It's 11:30. I'm Greg Matzek. This is Wisconsin's Midday News. It's Wednesday, March 5th. Your top story, staying in school longer each day.
I'm Jessica Tighe, an inmate on the run.
Wind advisory goes into effect at 2 o'clock. It's 41 and cloudy.
From ABC News, this is Michelle Franzen. 4 Democratic U.S. mayors called to testify before the GOP-controlled House Oversight Committee today over their sanctuary status as the Trump administration pushes to deport undocumented immigrants. New York Mayor Eric Adams telling lawmakers part of fighting crime in his city includes creating a safe environment for people to report crimes.
I must create an atmosphere that allows every law-abiding resident, documented or not, to access vital services without fear of being turned over to federal authorities.
Mayors of Boston, Chicago, and Denver also testifying. The tariff trade war ramping up. China leaders responding today, saying it's ready to fight any type of war and fight to the end. Lawmakers are offering condolences after the sudden passing of Democratic Congressman Sylvester Turner of Texas. He attended President Trump's joint address of Congress last night. The cause of death has not been disclosed. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 11:31. A scheduling error is leading to longer school days in Brown Deer.
The state requires a student to spend so many hours in class for completion of each school year. And the Journal-Sentinel says the Brown Deer School District discovered that its calendar for this year was short by 86 hours. That means longer school days from here on out for some. The middle school and high school will start 15 minutes earlier starting next week. And at the high school, an additional 5th-hour class period will be added at the end of the day for seniors. The school day will extend from 3:15 to 4:30, Monday through Thursday. Eric Bilstead, WTMJ News.
An inmate on the run in Dodge County. Sheriff's deputies are looking for 30-year-old Alyssa Lehman of Green Bay. She's in the Dodge County Jail with privileges to leave for work. She reportedly left work early yesterday to go to Walgreens in Beaver Dam. She was last seen at the Super 8 Hotel in Beaver Dam around 3:30 p.m. Lehman was wearing a heavy gray jacket, jeans, white shoes, and a gray knit cap. You can see her picture right now on our website, WTMJ.com.
A sixth inmate has died at the troubled maximum security prison in Waupun. The Wisconsin State Journal reports that 23-year-old Damian Evans died Tuesday based on a report from the Department of Corrections website. No additional details as to the cause of death. This marks the sixth such death at the prison in 2 years, and the first since the DOC lifted lockdown conditions that had lasted for more than a year.
New details now about a teenager missing from Oak Creek. 13-year-old Lillian Asala said she needed to get fresh air on Saturday before walking out of the house with no belongings. Asala's last location was a park near Drexel and Clement in Oak Creek. That's based on her cell phone location around 5 p.m. Her phone was found at the skate park on Sunday. You can see photos of Asala on our website, WTMJ.com.
Fundraising continues for the new Milwaukee Public Museum building downtown.
As of the end of 2024, museum president and CEO Ellen Sensky says $105 million has been raised for the new museum by private donors, which has helped to reach an important milestone in fundraising efforts.
When we couple that with public funding, that puts us at $191 million, or 80% of our way to our goal.
Fundraising efforts will continue for another 2 years. The new museum is expected to open in early 2027. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
Sports, traffic, and weather next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 11:34.
Ready for a smaller space, warmer climate? Want to live closer to the grandkids, or just sick of the upkeep? Hi, this is Bruce Nemovitz, Senior Real Estate Specialist and founder of Bruce's Team. Come to our annual spring seminar at Bernard Botanical Gardens on March 4th. Our team, along with downsizing experts and senior community representatives, will provide guidance, support, and answers to all of your questions about this important transition. The seminar is free, but seats are limited. Sign up today at brucesteam.com.
When you work at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores, you'll be helping us help others. There are many that need our help, and we need your help to carry out our mission. St. Vincent de Paul is always looking for part-time team members. You'll get competitive pay, benefits, and flexibility in scheduling. So apply online at svdpmilw.org or stop by Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, or 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Hi, I'm Jim Token, president of the Auto Dealers of Metro Milwaukee. Did you know that Adam members employ more than 7,500 people? Plus, Adam recently completed their 14th annual Feeding America Change Your Oil promotion. To date, Adam has donated over $875,000, which provided over 2.6 million meals. Start your next car search by finding an Adam member dealer at adam.com. That's ADAMM.com.
Looking ahead to life's next adventure? Hi, I'm Mike Yancey from Yancey & Associates. Whether you're buying a home or launching your dream business, we know there's a lot on your plate. But here's the thing, you don't have to go it alone. Since 1946, we've helped Wisconsinites like you secure, protect, and grow their version of the American dream. Our team is ready to tailor the perfect plan for you. Learn more at ANSAY.com. That's ANSAY.com.
Hey, John Mercure here for Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living. Their mission is to transform the culture of care. They specialize in caring for those with early to late stage Alzheimer's or other related dementia symptoms, memory care issues. It's Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living. I've been in their places. I love how they deal with people. It's about compassion and empathy at Azura. Kindness is at their core. 14 locations from the Mississippi to Lake Michigan, 4 here in the Milwaukee area. Wisconsin-based and family-owned. It's about kindness and care. It's Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living.
Time for WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. The Bucs are back home one night after defeating the Hawks in Atlanta. Coverage gets underway following the 6 o'clock news. Bucs have won 7 of 8. Doc Rivers' team, 10 games above 500.
Everybody on our team is over themselves. There's no stuff, what I call clutter. The guys just play together. They want to do right. It's an absolutely fantastic team to coach.
Coverage of tonight's game gets underway at 6 o'clock on WTMJ. College basketball, 20th ranked Marquette on the road at UConn for a 7:30 tip. Hear it on 94.5 ESPN. And 12th ranked Wisconsin visits Minnesota. Also a 7:30 tip. Badgers tied for 4th place in the Big Ten standings. Badger Sports Updates, sponsored by Siding Unlimited. Siding and a whole lot more.
Let's Let's get you an update on the roads right now with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. Roads are still wet due to the rain, and then later on, it's going to be because of the snow. Do want to let you know we have some good news. An incident just cleared, this one in Milwaukee County that I told you about that's happened right as our show was starting. 4145 north at the ramp from Capitol Drive. Left shoulder was blocked due to the crash, and that just got cleared out.
Well, kind of a nasty weather day. AM showers will turn into afternoon and evening snow. Only about an inch of accumulation in southeastern Wisconsin. It's going to be wet. It'll be slushy. Much different story to the north central part of the state, where 7 to 10 inches of snow are expected. In fact, they already have several inches on the ground. Wind advisory goes into effect at 2 o'clock tonight. It'll run through midnight for all of southeastern Wisconsin. And we top off at 45, but temperatures already starting to decline here. Overnight low of 24. Thursday's high 40. Friday's high 38. Snow day in Minnesota. Shout out to my nephew Ian and my niece Nadine for watching us on their live stream. No school, so why not be educated here with Wisconsin's Midday News?
Awesome. Well, we're giving you a big wave right now.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us. Yeah, snow day in Minnesota. That means it's really come down over in that part of the country.
Yeah, have fun though.
41 degrees and cloudy in Milwaukee at 11:38. Wanted to provide an update of sorts on the recent catastrophic wildfires in Los Angeles County. I mean, this was the story of all stories here toward the end of January. About the end of January, work started here from the EPA, and they were clearing out as much as they possibly could. And over the course of about 3 weeks, the EPA cleared or deferred about 75% of the properties that were impacted by the fires. You're talking about thousands and thousands of properties, hundreds of businesses, commercial properties, and so on. And the cleanup continues. I mean, they are nowhere near out of the weeds, and it's a process to help rebuild the areas that were most significantly hit. One of which, Pacific Palisades. We've had check-ins with our friend Caitlin Morale, Burlington native, now lives in Pacific Palisades. Amazingly, her house was not damaged by fire, but there is damage which they're trying to assess here, and that's kind of the next phase of the process. Caitlin joins us on the line right now. Hi, Caitlin.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well. So to be clear, you're not back in your home. Your home is standing. You're trying to figure out when you're going to be back in?
Yeah, well, I'd say physically right this second I am in my home. We're talking right now while there's some assessments going on in my home to pinpoint damage and what needs to be done. But you're right, we aren't living in our home right now. So we have been out since January 7th, since the fire broke out. I think I've mentioned it started about 3 blocks south of our home. And we've been out since then, and we will have at least another 6 months. We start another 6-month lease coming up here this weekend. So it's looking the better part of a year from the time the fire started until we'll probably be back.
Man, I can't imagine. You mentioned there's an assessment happening right now. I know there are these 3D damage assessments that are happening. What are they all looking for? Can you kind of walk us through that process?
That is exactly what we're having done right now, is like a 3D assessment. They called it a Matterport. But what they're looking for, and this is a number of assessments we've had. We've had remediation companies that insurance has sent to take a look, take pictures, take measurements, look in our attic, see basically how much smoke and ash damage came into the house. Throughout our inspections of our property, we've noticed that chunks of houses above us are melted into the backyard. We have turf because that's not uncommon in a drought area like Los Angeles. But melted into the turf. We have trees in our backyards that were burned. Our front doormat, we found out a few weeks ago, had burned up. We don't know if a firefighter put that out or it just burned on itself. So just kind of trying to figure out what got in and what we need to replace, what could be cleaned, what kind of construction needs to be done to ensure that our house is safe to live in.
So, Caitlin, as you're standing in your home right now, are there visible signs of damage, or can you smell something, see something, something that indicates, we shouldn't be living here yet?
So the smell is awful. People are like, it's maybe like campfire. It's very different because of the substances that have burned around us. So we're built into a hill, and all the houses that line our backyard burned down. So we're essentially the first street in our neighborhood that went untouched. So you're talking about cars, car batteries, computers, electronics, plumbing, paint, plastics. So there's almost like this toxic oily smell on top of this campfire smell, and everything that you remove from your home, we've even tried to remove some clothing and personal belongings, and we end up bringing it right back because it's permeated with this smell. Throughout all the windowsills, there's ash and soot that blew inside, by the doors as well. There's like a little film of like dust and ash on everything. So the other assessment that we're having done right now is environmental testing, because what they're finding is a lot of this burn residue that is in your house and debris that's in your house could have heavy metals in it, could have lead, arsenic. There's been a few hits of asbestos. So the stuff that blew into your house and then has been sitting here for 2 months isn't necessarily doing the inside of your house any favors.
Oh, man. And I can't imagine what you are going through right now. It's so much. And then you have these other families whose homes were destroyed. But this costs in more ways than one. I mean, how much is this costing you financially? And then also there's the emotional toll this takes.
Oh, 100%. So, I mean, we look at the whole rental situation. It's not as if, I was at an event a few weeks ago, and one of the moderators said, when someone has a house fire, they can get a rental in their community and they can lean on their neighbors for support. And in this case, not only are your neighbors' houses gone or uninhabitable, but your community's gone. You can't go to the places that you've been to. You can't have any familiarity. I said, a couple weeks ago, I went to a different car wash and I cried on the way to the car wash because I hadn't gone to a different car wash in 9 years. The emotional toll is incredible. But like you said, the financial toll is a lot too, because you're dealing with a town of approximately 30,000 people, and every single person in this town needs a place to live. And we all have vested interests on a certain side of town because of where school's relocated to, or like I mentioned, my son goes to school in Santa Monica. So for the majority of us, our work, we'd like to stay close to a certain area because of driving and commuting. Those who could afford to relocate based on working remotely or were open to moving schools moved, to the South Bay, Orange County, areas like that. But it's a big supply and demand issue as well.
Such a massive plot of land here, Caitlin, that we're talking about where these wildfires burned. But now that we're sort of removed from that, can you tell there is signs of progress with cleanup and debris and things? Normal is not the right word, but things progressing toward becoming more normal?
Yeah. I think, I'm up in the house about once a week, once every other week, something like that. Today was the first day that felt a little quiet. You have to go through a checkpoint to get into the Palisades, and you'd seen really a ton of utility workers. They were getting power back online for people. You aren't seeing as much of the clearing as the news, mainstream media would like to think. There is some of it. But you were talking about the EPA in phase 1 of cleaning up the toxic elements, like car batteries, Teslas, things like that. What we found is that the majority of the lots were deferred by the EPA, so the EPA wouldn't even touch them. They're ending up sending them to private removal companies. So that phase 1 finishing was more of a deferment in most cases. Today, up in my neighborhood, I didn't see anyone clearing. I think they said in our neighborhood there, or at least in our HOA, there are 54 houses that were lost. Only one of them has been cleared so far.
Oh, wow. I was actually thinking about you the other day and wondering what your thoughts are, as I don't know how much time you have to pay attention to the news that's going on in other parts of the country because of everything that you're dealing with. But as you see, wildfires in Tennessee or in the Carolinas, right, what your thoughts are, knowing what you dealt with and what you're currently dealing with.
Well, I have a cousin who lives in North Carolina, unfortunately very far away from where some of the fires are in North and South Carolina. But she lived in LA for a number of years, and she actually said the wildfires were one of the reasons she was happy to leave. And I said, well, look, now they're in the Carolinas too. Oh, but, you just look at making sure it's hard to see. It's very triggering, first of all, to see flames, to see those firefighters out, to see people evacuating. It's very emotionally triggering. But you just hope that these places have learned from what we've gone through, to be prepared to take it very seriously when there's a threat. Because chances are when it's spreading like it is in the wilderness, even into urban areas, when it's spreading like that, there is some kind of weather event that's fueling it. It's not just a random fire.
Caitlin, do you have confidence you'll be able to live in your home again?
Yes, 100%. I hope to. That's the goal. I love our community. I love our home. I love our street that we live on. We have great neighbors. So, I mean, that's the goal. I laughed 2 weeks ago? I was up here, and I kind of generally try to avoid touching as much as I can because I just don't know what is contaminated with things, what's toxic. And I just had a moment where I needed to lay down in my bed because none of us have slept in our beds since the night of January 6th. And I said I think I could have fallen asleep for 3 days because just being in my house, in my bed, was what my soul needed in that moment. So, but I definitely, it'll take some time, it'll take some work, but this is definitely where I want to live, where we want to be.
Well, Caitlin, it's great to check in with you. I'm glad there's some signs of progress. I know it's been a very tough couple of months for you, and you're making it, right? You're starting to make progress here.
And I very much appreciate you all checking in because as a lot of people know who have gone through really hard events and grievous events, sometimes life has to go on and people have to move on. So it's always nice to have people check in and see how things are going.
Well, we're happy to do it. Glad you're doing okay. And we will check in again as things progress for you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Caitlin.
Thank you.
Yeah, Caitlin Morrell joining us, Burlington native, currently living in Pacific Palisades, but has been out of her home for 2 months, and it might be another 6 months before they get back in. So trying to do the Airbnb thing for an extended period of time in an area that has been so devastated by wildfires.
Everybody's trying to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, it's just such a difficult situation. Don't want that story to be lost, right? It's just a massive cleanup effort, and they are just getting started.
When she talked about just needing that moment to be in her house, to be in her bedroom, to lay on her bed, that she needed that for her soul. I think that's so relatable.
Yeah, very powerful. 11:49 on WTMJ.
Save big money on your next project at Menards. Add a classic look and privacy with faux wood room darkening blinds by Window Images. They're available in a variety of colors and can be trimmed to width for free in store. Stop in today and get Window Images faux wood blinds on sale now through March 9th. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Helping people and families seriously injured in accidents and standing up for victims to take the burden off their shoulders. Greg Matzek here for Gruber Law Offices. You've been hurt in an accident, you make a call to Gruber. They will fight for you. They'll fight the insurance companies while you focus on healing. It's what they do at Gruber. It's what they've done for 40 years and giving back to the community. All very important for this family-run business. Large enough to take on all those different insurance companies, one of the largest in the Midwest, as a matter of fact, personal injury firms. Locally known and nationally recognized, it's gruber-law.com. If you've been hurt in an accident, make a quick phone call to 414-276-6666.
Spas. The Swim Spa Hot Tub and Sauna Show is coming this weekend inside the arena at the Waukesha County Fairgrounds. Rows and rows of spas, hot tubs, cold tubs, and swim spas. The largest display in the state. Save up to 60% on all in-stock models. This weekend only inside the arena at the Waukesha County Fairgrounds.
Beer fans, travel lovers, and history buffs, this is your dream vacation. Join me, Sandy Max, on a 10-day journey through Germany, Austria, and the Czech Republic. We'll enjoy Munich's famous beer halls, sip our way through Salzburg's historic breweries, and discover Vienna's culture and craft beer scene. Then end the tour in Prague, where ancient history meets modern brews. From iconic castles to authentic flavors, grab your passport and let's raise a glass to the ultimate beer adventure. Limited spots available. Book now. Email me, sandy@wtmj.com to learn more.
James Imaging Systems. Local support, local accountability, local business technology representatives. Listen to Matheson Manufacturing President Al Leidinger.
She still checks in to see how things are going and if we need anything. So I really do appreciate that from a customer service standpoint.
Michael Quizan, IT Systems Administrator at Great Midwest Bank, discovered the benefits of working with the local team at James.
Our cost from supplies perspective went down. I mean, we're talking about thousands in a year. So we saved a lot of money by bringing James Imaging on.
James Imaging Imaging Systems client Luther Gray, Director of Ticket Operations and Group Sales with the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra, on dealing with James.
They are making sure you get the full value and life of every product that you have with them.
Local support, local accountability, local people. Get it all with James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner. Call 262-781-7700 or visit jamesimaging.com.
Tariffs and the threat of their implementation have become a central part of United States trade and foreign policy. What are tariffs? How are they implemented? And what sectors of the economy could benefit if they're put in place? Join me and Annex Wealth Management's Dave Spano, Chief Economist Brian Jacobson on March 11th at 1 p.m. for their informative webinar. Learn how your portfolio and your financial plan might be impacted and affected by tariffs. Visit the Annex Wealth Management webinar page at WTMJ.com.
Wind advisory goes into effect at 2 o'clock. Rain will convert to snow. About an inch of accumulation here for most of southeastern Wisconsin. It'll be slushy. It's going to be wet on your drive home. More north central part of the state, 7 to 10 inches. So they're really getting smacked here. More of a rain and slushy snow event here for us in southeastern Wisconsin. 45 the high today. Temperatures already starting to fall. Overnight low of 24. 39 and cloudy in Milwaukee at 11:53.
So we mentioned earlier that COVID-19 hits the 5-year mark this year. It was March 2020 when our lives changed due to the coronavirus. And we said that we would share, kind of reflect back on our personal memories of this, because we each have some unique stories when it comes to the very start of this. And we were kind of talking about this in our morning meeting today. I remember it specifically because I can go back to Saturday, March 7th. My husband, we weren't married yet, but we were together at the time, and he flew the Detroit Pistons after they played the Utah Jazz in an NBA charter jet. On Wednesday, March 11th, just days after, I was on Twitter. I think it was Twitter then. I don't think they'd even changed it to X
Nope,
yet.
you're right. Yep.
And the NBA suspended the season, which all of a sudden that was like, whoa, that was a big moment. When you think back to this, I mean, that was a moment that everybody thought, okay, this is really something, right? When the NBA actually stopped the season. And the Detroit Pistons were among the teams ordered to self-quarantine since it was announced that a player on the Jazz had coronavirus. And here I'm like, okay, he just flew one of these teams, and both of those teams played each other. Does he have to quarantine himself? In the meantime, he's up in the air flying. He has no idea this is going on, right? I'm paying attention to all of these new developments that were coming down and freaking out. I don't panic. I'm not somebody who panics, but I remember being very nervous about it and wondering. And we made so many calls once he got home. And, you know, from his doctor to other doctors to, I remember, the city health department to the county health department. We went all the way up to the state health department because nobody could answer our questions. Nobody could say whether he should be tested at that point. Nobody could say whether he should quarantine. We finally got a call back. I can't remember if it was the county or the state. And somebody said, we can get you into test. That's when people weren't testing yet. And we had to go in, drive to the hospital. All of a sudden, they said, well, we'll have this garage door that opens up. We had to pull the car into the garage door. And he got tested from a woman who was, you know, had I mean, it wasn't just a face mask. She looked like she was in a hazmat suit. And he couldn't even get out of the car. He had to be tested in my Nissan Altima.
Yeah, things progress quickly. We did a Disney cruise at February. We got a letter from Disney saying, if you have booked this trip and you are coming from China, we're not going to let you on the boat. Sorry. That was in February. I went to spring training, and I remember it feeling a little different. I remember talking to Christian Yelich and having to stand like 6 feet away from him and hoping that my recorder
could the microphone
caught
reach
his voice. He's not the loudest guy. But I remember that being a different experience than usual at spring training. Met up with some friends, I think at a brewery in Milwaukee in early March. They had some rules at the brewery. At that time, I think there were maybe 2 or 3 confirmed cases in the state of Wisconsin, and there wasn't a single one in Milwaukee. And then to your point about the basketball game and the Utah Jazz, that was the night that Trump shut the borders, and my wife's mother was in Italy with a bunch of friends.
Geez.
So we had to go through a whole process of getting them back as soon as possible from Italy because we didn't know if they would be stuck. So at 2 a.m. in Italy, and we're making phone calls trying to wake everybody up and get them to the airport and bring them home. So it was just sort of a wild scene. It feels like a lifetime ago, to be honest with you.
It does.
But just that flurry of events from cruise to spring training to back home to, wait, now the borders are shut. That seemed to happen in the blink of an eye. And it was about a month or so duration of time. But yeah, 5 years ago.
Wisconsin had just one case of coronavirus in the state 5 years ago, but as we know, that would change quickly.
Yeah, very much so. It's 11:57. News is next.
Whatever you want to call this season, we're over it. Time to look forward to
fly ball, right field. It is deep. It is gone!
spring training is finally here and back on the radio.
It is way gone over the batter's eye and out of here for William Contreras.
Make sure to catch our next spring training broadcast as the Brewers take on the A's Thursday at 7:05. No matter the season, we are the home of the Brewers. WTMJ.
Well, Siding Unlimited has done it again. This is amazing. Best of the best in the United States. It's Wisconsin's own Siding Unlimited. Greg Matzek here. Let me tell you about it. Here's what they did. Siding Unlimited has won another prestigious award thanks to Pella. Siding Unlimited is now a 5-time Pella Premier Certified Contractor of the Year. They won the award about a month ago in Dallas. That means Siding Unlimited, the best installer of high-quality Pella window products in the country. They treat every product they install, just like the Pella brand, with roofing, siding, windows, doors, anything to beautify your home's exterior. They've done a number of projects for us. Our siding looks brand new still. The LP Smart Side siding, perfectly installed by Siding Unlimited. About 8 years old, still looks like it was installed a week ago. It's Siding Unlimited. Have them do for you what they've done for us. Bring some photos and ideas out to their showroom in Brookfield. Connect with Siding Unlimited. Family-owned business. Eric and Aaron Brown do a great job with the company. They took it over from their father years ago and expanded their offerings. Visit sidingunlimited.com.
I can see the breath inside my house. This is how horror movies start.
First, the cold seeps in. Next thing you know, you're spooning your cat for warmth.
I tried it. He bit me.
Jason, come on, man. You need a new furnace. Don't you know that Capital is giving away the furnace when you get a new AC?
Giving as in free?
Yeah, but call Capital before this turns into the horror version of Frozen. Call Capital today and get a free furnace with a new AC.
Old-fashioned service, you can't go wrong. Call CapitalCares.com.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduce stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Fleet Farm's bucket sale is back. You know the drill. Pick up a Fleet Farm 5-gallon bucket for only $3.99. Then save 15% on everything you can fit inside, including clearance. That's right. Any qualifying items you can fit in the bucket are 15% off. So come on in and load up on savings during Fleet Farm's bucket sale, now through March 5th. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
From the biggest plays on the court to the comments made in the locker room after, an in-depth recap of every Bucks game in 6 minutes. No more, no less. Bucks in 6 provides game recaps for every game. Hear the high-flying dunks from Giannis.
Puts it on the floor, spins down the lane, and plunges it through.
Or the deep threes from Dame.
Dame time has arrived with 107.
Bucks in 6 on the Bucks Plus audio network. Find it now on bucks.com/plus or on Spotify, Apple, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Get your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval to buy at ACCUNET.com.
The Lucaless Mavericks return to face the Bucks.
And Lopez, three-pointer from Dame, and he buries it from the left side. That could be your dagger tonight.
Our coverage starts tonight at 6 with Bucks Shoot Around. We are your home for the Milwaukee Bucks. News Radio 620 WTMJ Milwaukee.
It's 12:02. I'm Greg Matzek. This is Wisconsin's Midday News. It is Wednesday, March 5th. Your top story, arrested for a stabbing in Milwaukee.
I'm Jessica Tighe. Safety plans for the NFL Draft.
Wind advisory goes into effect from 2 o'clock to midnight for all of southeastern Wisconsin. Gusts up to 50 miles per hour possible. AM rain turning to afternoon snow, along with those increasing winds and falling temperatures. About an inch or so of wet accumulation in southeastern Wisconsin. Overnight low, 24. It's 39 and cloudy in Milwaukee at 12:02. From the WTMJ breaking newsroom, one person in custody after a stabbing on Milwaukee's northwest side happened about 5:30 Tuesday evening near 18th and Chambers. A 35-year-old died at the scene. A 62-year-old was arrested in connection to the stabbing. Charges are pending.
A mother found stabbed to death in Caledonia. Now her teenage son is in custody.
When police arrived at the Caledonia home late Tuesday, a 15-year-old boy immediately surrendered to authorities. Officers inside the home found a woman dead that was later identified as the boy's mother. An initial investigation indicates the woman was stabbed and also suffered blunt force trauma. The teen now faces homicide charges and remains in custody this morning, though his identity has not been made public. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
Ruckus exchanges at a House Oversight Committee on sanctuary cities, which some Republicans have accused of harboring criminals. CBS' Allison Keyes reports.
Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson told lawmakers that fears of deportation make his city more dangerous, adding,
"We do not harbor criminals. We arrest them."
Colorado Republican Representative Lauren Boebert blasted Denver Mayor Mike Johnston over an increase in crime in a Denver suburb.
Proves you were shipping illegal aliens to Aurora. Their crime was increasing while you were hiding.
President Trump has claimed without evidence that criminals are pouring into the U.S. from other nations. Allison Keyes, CBS News, Washington.
The Trump administration has sued Chicago and New York State over various immigration laws.
Tariff activity devastating the stock market 2 days in a row. What else could be hit hard?
It's always the consumers that will be hit ultimately with this.
That's James Vanderloo, head of the OEC Group Milwaukee. He told us on Wisconsin's Afternoon News how quickly we could see these prices go up at the stores.
We heard from the CEOs of Best Buy and some others that you're going to be feeling this in potentially weeks.
Because anything that now leaves from Canada, Mexico, or China is subject to those tariffs. Julia Fellow, WTMJ News.
And we're looking a little bit better on the markets right now. The Dow is up 334 points to 42,855. S&P 500 and NASDAQ also up.
Well, keeping everyone safe during the NFL Draft. Ralph Ennis is the NFL's Director of Investigations and Security. Speaking to the Green Bay Common Council, he says local law enforcement will work tightly with the FBI to keep the whole area safe.
We have thought of virtually everything that could possibly happen, and we've been working with the fire department, the EMS, and the police department to ensure we have plans in place to put people in a place that's safe if there's an emergency.
Security measures include installing a 100-foot-tall perimeter around the campus, security screening at checkpoints, and crowd control. Green Bay hosts the NFL Draft beginning April 24th. Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Some good news to report here. Everything in the green this afternoon. The Dow is now up 331 points at 42,852. NASDAQ up nearly 200 points today at 18,466. S&P 500 up about 40 at 5820. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. It's financial planning at every level. For details, visit annexwealth.com.
We're tracking other numbers next. Your sports numbers, scores ahead, sports, traffic, and weather right after this. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 12:06.
For over a century, local radio has evolved with the needs of the community. From politics to pop culture, we keep you informed, bringing you the most relevant news, online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Hi, I'm Jim Token, president of the Auto Dealers of Metro Milwaukee. Did you know that Adam members employ more than 7,500 people? Plus, Adam recently completed their 14th annual Feeding America Change Your Oil promotion. To date, Adam has donated over $875,000, which provided over 2.6 million meals. Start your next car search by finding an Adam member dealer at adam.com. That's ADAMM.com.
No matter how
how many people are in your family, buying new jackets for the cold weather months can be expensive. But when you shop St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores, prices on cold weather jackets will give you a sigh of relief because thrift store prices mean great deals. And right now we have a great selection. Find great deals on cold weather jackets for the family at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it. St. Vincent de Paul.
The Mine Chef's Wednesday all-you-can-eat Lenten fish fry is $7.99. Kids 5 and under eat free from the kids menu. Just walk in today for your $7.99 Wednesday fish fry. That's amazing. MineChefRestaurant.com.
My USPS Ground Advantage package just left the warehouse. I get all the updates. Stay in the know with USPS Ground Advantage service. Visit USPS.com/in-the-know.
I'm Brett Matschke, and you're due for service.
Bridgelawns.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports desk. The Bucks are back home after defeating the Hawks in Atlanta last night. Coverage of tonight's game begins following the 6 o'clock news. Bucks have won 7 of 8. They're 10 games above 500. College basketball tonight, 20th ranked Marquette on the road at UConn. It's a 7:30 tip. Hear it on 94.5 ESPN. 12th ranked Wisconsin visits Minnesota. The Badgers are tied for 4th place in the Big Ten standings. And the Brewers have 2 games today. It's a split squad affair taking on the White Sox and the White Sox. Our next broadcast scheduled for Thursday night against the A's.
Checking out the roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. No big crashes to let you know about. That's great news. We do have a disabled vehicle out in the system around Milwaukee. I-43 south at the ramp from Wisconsin Avenue. Right shoulder is blocked due to a car that's broken down. But other than that, we're just dealing with some wet roads. I will say, let's enjoy this now because we know that the rain is switching over to snow and our roads are going to get even messier.
Yeah, kind of a nasty day today. We got that wind advisory going into effect in a couple hours here. Begins at 2 o'clock, runs through midnight. All of southeastern Wisconsin in that wind advisory. Gusts up to 50 miles an hour. Snow's going to start falling this afternoon. Windy, falling temps. About an inch of accumulation here in southeastern Wisconsin. Much more if you get to the north central part of the state. Overnight low of 24. Thursday, mostly sunny. What falls should hopefully dry up or melt. A high of 40 degrees. Friday's high 38. Saturday back into the low 40s. 39 and cloudy in Milwaukee, approaching 1210.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios in downtown Milwaukee, it's Wisconsin's Midday News, making stories come to life. Now, here are your hosts, Greg Matzek and Jessica Tighe.
So, you walk into our house from the garage. We've got 3 locker stalls, and basically I have one, my daughters share one, and my wife has one.
Does it have your name on there?
It doesn't, locker? But you can kind of tell whose is who. Every coat in the Matzek household is currently hanging in the lockers right now. You have no idea what to wear on a given day. You got the winter coat there. Then you got the vest there. Then you got the kind of the raincoat there. Like every coat we have is occupying those lockers.
That's so true. After work, I picked my husband up last night and said, hey, can you grab my raincoat out of the closet for me? Because it was raining last night. We're going to go out for Taco Tuesday at Botana's. He did not bring the raincoat, but he brought something that's similar to a raincoat, and it worked.
Fair enough.
But that's the thing, yeah. And here we go. Snow. Might need your galoshes.
Yeah, it's a big story today, no doubt. 12:11, following some big stuff going on this afternoon.
It's now at noon on Wisconsin's Midday News.
First, a soaker. Up next, snow. Rain totals are in now. Storm Team 4 says we got 1 inch to 1.5 inches of rain across most of southeastern Wisconsin. Now it is time for the snow again. The switch is already happening in some places like Dodge and Fond du Lac counties, but most of the metro area will see the switch to snow happen in just a couple of hours here between 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. Snow totals, they say, will vary with less than 1 inch expected in Milwaukee, so not much around Milwaukee, but up to 10 inches possible in northern areas of Wisconsin. So that's going to be a lot up north. Also, we have to deal with, along with the snow, we have to deal with wind. So that always gets messy.
I was seeing some pictures from folks up north saying this is yesterday at 6 o'clock in the morning and today at 6 o'clock in the morning. And the accumulation of snow, I mean, it looks like a winter wonderland up north right now, which is maybe great, right? For snowmobiling, skiing, and the outdoor enthusiasts, that's great. My view of it now is that we're at March 5th.
Yeah.
Winter had its chance. And if it didn't snow enough down here, well, you blew it. You blew it, winter. Don't be bugging me in March.
Mixed reviews right now about what's happening.
President Trump meeting with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau today to discuss the future of tariffs on Canadian goods, a tariff that Trump has defended since its implementation.
Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick said Trump would reach a compromise on the tariffs, penalties that Trudeau slammed as a very dumb thing to do as he delivered this message to Americans.
We don't want this. We want to work with you as a friend and ally. And we don't want to see you hurt either. But your government has chosen to do this to you.
Trump acknowledged that the tariffs could cause what he called a little disturbance for Americans.
CBC's Andrew Dimbird, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick believes a compromise could be reached. He does not believe there will be another pause, however, of any kind. In an interview with Bloomberg, Lutnick clarified that Trump is thinking about a plan that he'll decide and announce later today that could keep those 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canadian goods in place, but there could be certain exemptions, including the auto industry. And in a related story, you look at some of the major auto manufacturers, and all of a sudden their stock price is starting to rally a little bit. So what Trump says and does certainly affects the markets. We've seen that in the last couple of days, to be sure.
Nice to see the markets right now in the green. Millions of Catholics around the world will mark Ash Wednesday today. So if you see someone at lunch with ashes on their forehead, or maybe tonight at the Bucks game, you know why. Pope Francis will be absent from Ash Wednesday ceremonies in Rome. The Vatican says the 88-year-old pontiff remained stable last night and has not had any new episodes of respiratory failure. CBS senior foreign correspondent Seth Doan has the latest from Rome.
The doctors, according to these Vatican sources, say that this is the normal progression of someone who is battling double pneumonia in both lungs. As we know, as we've been reporting all along, he has multiple comorbidities here. He has chronic lung issues that he's also dealing with. So all of this together, a very delicate, complex situation.
Without a doubt. Today marks the start of Lent, which goes for 46 days and ends on Easter Sunday.
12:14 on WTMJ. Coming up, little discussion about how to manage through the daylight savings process. No, not you. Talking about your kids. How do they react? 12:14. We'll do it after this.
On Wisconsin's Morning News, we profiled the average John or Jane Doe who had no idea when they got up one morning that they'd be saving a life, becoming everyday heroes. Ryan Lathrop, school bus driver, coming his way, a semi-truck in the other lane, and it's creeping over the center line.
Tried to get around him, see if I couldn't avoid him, and he ended up going right down the side of my bus. I don't feel that I'm a hero. I did just doing my job.
Everyday Hero, Thursdays at 6:40 on Wisconsin's Morning News, presented by Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living, transforming the culture of care.
Visit family-owned Ken Michaels Furniture and our in-store design centers where you'll still find beautiful, luxurious, heirloom-quality American-made furniture. Right now, save 30 to 35% store-wide and take advantage of our complimentary design services. Whether you're moving, renovating, or updating, our designers will help your vision become a reality. Visit Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield on Capitol Drive and in Greenfield on Highway 100 to save 30 to 35% store-wide today. Sleep better and save more with mattresses from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in our Milwaukee factory, our mattresses utilize natural materials like cotton cushioning, which dissipates body heat, Joma wool quilts for warm wintry nights and cool summer evenings, and natural latex providing superior conformability and pressure relief for aching joints. Stop in today at any Ken Michaels Furniture store and save up to 50% compared to national brands.
Tariffs and the threat of their implementation have become a central part of the United States trade and foreign policy. What are tariffs? How are they implemented? And what sectors of the economy could benefit if they're put in place? Join me and Annex Wealth Management's Dave Spano, Chief Economist Brian Jacobson on March 11th at 1 p.m. for their informative webinar. Learn how your portfolio and your financial plan might be impacted and affected by tariffs. Visit the Annex Wealth Management webinar page at WTMJ.com.
Wind advisory begins at 2 o'clock, runs through midnight for southeastern Wisconsin. Gusts up to 50 miles an hour. That's as snow falls from the sky. We should get that conversion going on pretty soon. In fact, I think it is snowing outside. It's just wet and heavy kind of stuff falling downtown.
The conversion?
Yeah, I'm feeling it, and I'm looking at the radar here. I don't actually have a window to see outside. We're kind of locked in, but it's just kind of a nasty day.
I'm calling it the switch.
The switch? Okay, conversion, switch. Hit us up on the text line with what
what
you
do you
describe
like?
it as.
What would you like?
How about nasty? That's kind of what it is today. Stay inside if you can.
Yep.
Temperatures topping out at 45 degrees, but they're already on the decline. Overnight low of 24. Sunny and 40 on Thursday, so whatever falls should melt and hopefully dry up a little bit. It's 38 and cloudy at 12:17.
Daylight saving time starts this weekend. Yes, we are springing ahead. Before you go to bed Saturday night, set the clocks forward 1 hour. It sounds nice when we're like, yeah, springing ahead, but losing an hour of sleep, that can be hard on all of us.
Definitely. In some really, truly have a more difficult time adjusting than others. For me, not as much a big deal, but I know I'm not like everybody in that regard.
I feel like that next Monday, that first Monday at work is a little rough. But I said it can impact all of us, but definitely kids, especially teenagers. Dr. Casey Frymiller, a pediatrician with UW Health Kids, joins us live with some ways to help. Thanks for joining us, Dr. Frymiller.
Hey, yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
So you suggest families start preparing the kids now, like tonight. What's your advice?
Yeah, definitely. I think a little bit of preparation goes a long way, especially with kids. I think surprises can be hard on the young ones. Tonight, yeah, absolutely. We like to do this thing, or I like to talk about this thing called sleep fading or bedtime fading, where you slowly adjust the bedtime over a few nights to get to the new bedtime that you'd like.
Do you talk to them too about it, not just kind of do that bedtime fading?
Oh, yeah. You know, again, preparation goes a long way. So I talk about things about bedtime definitely during the daylight hours. Definitely a lot of preparation for them so that it's not such a surprise at the bedtime. And so generally today is a good day. Maybe tomorrow, say, hey, we're going to go to bed a little bit early, about 15 minutes each day. And so for, say, my kids, right, if they go to bed at 8 p.m., you know, tonight would be 7:45, tomorrow would be 7:30, Friday would be the 7:15, hopefully to a full hour that Saturday night. Overnight Sunday, your clock moves forward an hour. That shift doesn't seem as drastic to a child going to bed the next night with this hour difference.
Yeah, we're more of a rip the Band-Aid off kind of family. We won't be easing into bed. My kids will not tolerate going to bed before Survivor ends. So what if you were on the opposite end, that it sounds good in theory, but because of life rhythms, practices, whatever it is, you can't really do it?
Yeah, it is tough. This daylight savings is less fun for that because going to bed early is much harder and true, like scientifically, much harder than going to bed later. Our brains are much easier adjusted to going to bed earlier. And because routine is so important, changing the routine, is really hard. So if you're used to going to bed at that normal time, it is hard to change. So, you know, we try the best as we can. I talk about melatonin as a way of adjusting, you know, so maybe trying, 1 to 2 milligrams as a way to change something and then not having to need it later on as we switch back to our routine and have those normal sleep habits.
So kids can take melatonin too?
Yeah. There's products out there that are geared towards kids. There's lower doses. They're not strictly FDA approved, and they're marketed more as supplement things. And so you have to be choosy, and you have to pick reputable brands. And I focus on the quantity a lot with families. A little goes a long way, and so I usually rarely recommend more than 1 to 2 milligrams. Certainly no more than 5.
I know there have been some studies on the impact of the time change in March on teenagers. What did they find?
Yeah, that is a really great question. So there was not too long ago a study that came out looking specifically at the time change in a collection, a small amount of high school students and the daylight savings change in spring, so losing an hour of sleep. And essentially, not surprising, teenagers got less sleep. They had a hard time adjusting. But what's really interesting, because sleep is so important for many aspects of our life, is they weren't able to have as good response times. It took them longer to respond on these tests that they did, very standard tests. And they made more mistakes. And so they sort of more or less found really good evidence saying that, sleep made teenagers do less well in school.
So this is really interesting to follow year to year. Doctor, what if you're working or have a child who is already struggling to get consistent sleep? Maybe they fall asleep okay, but then around 3, 4 in the morning, they just, for whatever reason, are woken up and can't seem to get back to sleep.
Sure. Yeah, that's a really good question, and each kid is unique, and each situation is unique. So I can't stress the importance of having like a family doctor or like a primary care doctor, a nice pediatrician like myself to talk to and rely on when things change. The biggest thing with sleep is routine, and a lot of what controls when you are ready to go to bed is what time you get up. And so I think a surprising thing that I tell people is waking up very consistently, day to day, weekday, and weekend really sets your brain up for feeling tired and ready to go to bed at your bedtime. And then many, many things can cause you to wake up in the middle of the night. So journaling and figuring out what's the cause of the waking up can be really helpful. And then I stress that bed is for sleep. Really try not to do anything in your bed that is not sleep. So for teenagers, that's the phone, TV, doing homework, just kind of being in it can really kind of set your brain into not sleep mode when you're in your actual bed.
Are you still suggesting things like just, exercise? I'm thinking for all of us too now, not just the kids, but for adults too, exercise or even getting out and just, seeing the sun, which we're not seeing much of it today in Wisconsin, but.
I was going to say today's a perfect day to be able to do that. Absolutely. Exercise is has a good impact on our sleep health. The thing with exercise, is to do it in the morning. If you do it close to bedtime, that really gets your heart rate up, kind of gets the juices flowing, and can make it hard to go to bed. And so if you're an exercise person, I would try to separate it from the bedtime and do it in the morning as much as possible. Regular meals, the routine of regular meals tells your brain when you're going to be feeling tired for sleep. And then you can't forget caffeine use, drinking coffee in the morning and then continuing on, or even dark chocolate, soda, other medicines that may contain caffeine in it later in the afternoon can really impact your sleep.
Good advice. It's Dr. Casey Frymiller, a pediatrician with UW Health Kids, with some advice as we spring ahead Saturday. Don't forget to adjust those clocks. Thanks so much, Doctor.
Hey, thank you. Take care.
I always dread that one. Ooh.
Yeah, fall behind is a little more palatable, but I am going to appreciate just, having the light extended throughout the day a little bit more.
Great.
Like that's always a positive, I suppose.
But losing that hour of sleep, that one's tough. Yeah, we'll look on the positive. Look ahead. Time right now is 12:25.
Spas. The Swim Spa Hot Tub and Sauna Show is this weekend only inside the arena at the Waukesha County Fairgrounds. Millions of inventory must be sold. Prices are slashed up to 60% off retail, so save thousands. Save big on new hot tubs, spas, and saunas. Also cold tubs. Plus, see the Michael Phelps Signature Swim Spas by Master Spas.
Hi, I'm Michael Phelps. Join the swimming revolution.
The Swim Spa Hot Tub and Sauna Show this weekend only inside the arena at the Waukesha County Fairgrounds. Visit 800spasale.com.
Hey, we know what's coming around the corner here, right? The Madness of March is going to ramp up, and you want to be at Potawatomi Sportsbook to soak it all in. The volume of games, it's unbelievable. So why not watch it at a place where you've got a 2,000-square-foot video wall? That's what you'll see at Potawatomi Sportsbook. I'll be there tonight, as a matter of fact, for the weekly wager. Check out the VIP deck. You can have some of that comfortable furniture for you reserved on the floor. You can get great food from the kitchen, drink specials, you name it. You want to watch sports. You want to watch the upcoming tournament at Potawatomi Sportsbook. No better place to watch sports in the state of Wisconsin. Believe me, it's an unbelievable sight. Check out all that's new at Potawatomi Casino Hotel in Milwaukee. Hope to see you there throughout the month of March.
Vince Vitrano for Connect Chiropractic. Winter shoveling, hibernating, being a couch potato, chiropractic can help bring back your energy. Headaches, neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain. How quickly you can see results will vary from person to person, but time and repetition is key to staying on the right track. No twisting, no cracking, no popping. At Connect Chiropractic, they use an instrument called the Integrator that allows them to be gentle and specific with all their adjustments. New location coming soon to Oak Creek. Get started at goconnectchiro.com.
Plug into
powerful savings with CeroWire products at Menards. CeroWire is an American-owned leading manufacturer of building wire for residential, commercial, and industrial applications. Menards stocks convenient, pre-cut lengths of wire and cable products for all of your indoor and outdoor projects. Hurry in now and save big money on CeroWire at Menards. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Hey, a reminder to take us with you wherever you go. We'd love it if you subscribe to the Wisconsin's Midday News podcast, built by Siding Unlimited, truly siding and a whole lot more. We'll make it easy for you. Text the word Midday to the 855-616-1620 talk and text line. We'll send you the details right back to your mobile device. Take us with you wherever you go. Gina does a great job putting up our segments and full shows, so enjoy the Wisconsin's Midday News podcast wherever you get your podcasts. What's this about protecting my house? Oh, hey, Jonathan.
Now, about your house. Eric Brown is the president of Siding Unlimited, your contractor for new windows, roofing, siding, decks, and a whole lot more. He knows about your house. So what do you know, Eric?
Siding is what pops on your home. Clean lines, beautiful accents, and wonderful colors can make your home really look amazing. Homeowners are always looking to add curb appeal when buying new siding, and a well-installed product from Siding Unlimited will definitely deliver a grand appeal. There is so much more to gain from replacing your siding other than the curb appeal you're already seeking. There is so much value in having new siding with low maintenance. Just an annual cleaning with the hose is all you really need to do. You can't get much lower maintenance than that. The process of replacing siding gives homeowners a fresh start, a new understanding knowing that we can peel back the old stuff and get a real in-depth inspection on the walls on your home and the structural integrity. How has the home performed over the past 20 years? We'll see it all when removing the old siding. There's a high percentage your home is missing the most important factor in siding a home, and that's a working water barrier. Many homes built in the 1990s and prior don't have a water barrier beneath the siding, and homes that were built in the 90s that do have one probably have a water barrier that was installed incorrectly. New siding replacement assures us that we install the water barrier correctly and protect the home moving forward. Our process always includes adding insulation board to the wall. This gives you a water barrier underlayment and additional R value, which is an energy coefficient, so warmer walls, adding more value to the project than the expected curb appeal. As the new siding goes back on, we know your home will be ready to manage water well into the future and look amazing doing so.
Eric and his crews at Siding Unlimited are your go-to contractor here for siding and also replacement windows, roofing, and decks. Take the next step. Check them out at sidingunlimited.com. Siding Unlimited, siding and a whole lot more.
Approaching 12:30, I'm Greg Matzek. This is Wisconsin's Midday News. It's Wednesday, March 5th. Your top story: on the lookout for an inmate on the loose.
I'm Jessica Tighe. A fundraising update from the Milwaukee Public Museum.
Wind advisory begins at 2 o'clock, runs through midnight for all of southeastern Wisconsin. Gusts up to 50 miles an hour. Showers turning to snow. Windy later this afternoon. Temperatures will be on the decline, about an inch of accumulation. A low of 24. On Thursday, mostly sunny, breezy early, and a high of 40. It's currently 38 degrees and cloudy in Milwaukee at 12:30.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Just over 24 hours after implementing tariffs on imports from Mexico, Canada, and China, the Trump administration now signaling it may tweak some of those hikes for some imports, including on autos. ABC's Karen Travers says it comes as President Trump is telling businesses and Americans to prepare for some disturbances to the economy.
He has used that word repeatedly, disturbances, to talk about the potential impact on the economy or American consumers. The White House will not acknowledge that there could be price increases because of these tariffs, but the president last night acknowledging that people might feel this, and he said that's okay because it's worth it in the long run.
It's also led to trading partners retaliating with their own tariffs on U.S. goods. Vice President J.D. Vance visiting the border city of Eagle Pass, Texas today. He'll be highlighting policies he says have led to dramatically fewer arrests for illegal crossings during the initial weeks of the Trump administration. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 12:31. An inmate is on the run in Dodge County. Sheriff's deputies looking for a 30-year-old, Alisa Lehman of Green Bay. She was in the Dodge County jail with privileges to leave for work. Reportedly, she left work early yesterday to go to Walgreens in Beaver Dam. She was last seen at the Super 8 Hotel in Beaver Dam about 3:30 in the afternoon. Lehman was wearing a heavy gray jacket, jeans, white shoes, a gray knit cap. You can see photos of her right now online at her website, WTMJ.com.
The Milwaukee Board of School Directors approved the contract for new Superintendent Dr. Brenda Cassellius last night. Board President Marva Herndon expressed optimism for the district's future.
With Dr. Cassellius at the helm, the board is confident that our district will continue to rise to the challenges of an ever-changing educational landscape.
Dr. Cassellius will start leading MPS in just 10 days on March 15th. Her contract is for 2 years. The board also approved an agreement with the city of Milwaukee regarding school resource officers. The cost to place the officers in schools will be split 50-50 between both sides.
A scheduling error is leading to longer school days in Brown Deer.
And so many hours in class for completion of each school year. And the Journal-Sentinel says the Brown Deer School District discovered that its calendar for this year was short by 86 hours. That means longer school days from here on out for some. The middle school and high school will start 15 minutes earlier starting next week. And at the high school, an additional fifth-hour class period will be added at the end of the day for seniors. The school day will extend from 3:15 to 4:30, Monday through Thursday. Eric Bilstead, WTMJ News.
Fundraising continues for the new Milwaukee Public Museum building downtown.
As of the end of 2024, museum president and CEO Ellen Sensky says $105 million has been raised for the new museum by private donors, which has helped to reach an important milestone in fundraising efforts.
When we couple that with public funding, that puts us at $191 million, or 80% of our way to our goal.
Fundraising efforts will continue for another 2 years. The new museum is expected to open in early 2027. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
In Green Bay.
This is about coming back here, making sure that we feel good about where we are, and then being able to refine the plan.
Sounds good. Encouraging words from John Barker, the NFL's global head of major events and international games, as executives make their final site visits to Green Bay, all ahead of the NFL draft, telling our partners at NBC 26 in Green Bay.
This really is about 32 teams. And the opportunity for people to come to one of the greatest stadiums in the world, I think that's super special.
Road closures are expected to begin March 29th, when the NFL expects to begin rolling in equipment for the draft stage. The draft begins in Green Bay, April 24th.
The Bucks are back home. They just won 7 of the last 8 games. Where are they now in the standings? We'll let you know. Sports, traffic, and weather coming up. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 12:34.
It's WTMJ's Debbie Lazaga for Comfort Awnings. You've heard me talk about the wonderful new retractable awning the team at Comfort Awnings installed at my home. Well, spring is quickly approaching, and it's the perfect time for you to get an awning installed, so it's ready once the temps warm up. Comfort Awnings is a local family-owned company in Burlington that provides expert installation in southeast Wisconsin and northern Illinois. Until March 21st, you can receive a free motor with the purchase of any retractable awning or screens. Call 414-AWNINGS or visit comfortawnings.com to learn more.
Are you worried about running out of money in retirement? Wondering about how to pay less taxes? Join me, Tony Drake, for the Retirement Ready Show, live every Saturday at noon and Sunday at 7 a.m. on WTMJ 620 or 103.3 FM. We'll talk about smart strategies to help you retire with confidence. Don't miss it.
Drake & Associates LLC is an independent investment advisory firm that offers a variety of different investment vehicles. This commercial is provided for informational purposes only and should not be construed as individual investment advice. Drake & Associates LLC does not provide legal or tax advice. Past performance is not indicative of future performance.
A Friday Lent fish fry is a family tradition. WTMJ's John Mercure here. Don't wait until Friday. During Lent, the amazing Mind Chef restaurant in Hartford serves their all-you-can-eat fish fry on Wednesday and Friday. And check this part out. It's $7.99. That's great value. Inflation's tough. They've got your back at the Mine Shaft. It's the best fish fry value anywhere, and it's delicious. I love the Mine Shaft fish fry. Every Wednesday, kids and grandkids 5 and under eat free from the kids' menu, and then they can safely play in that world-class game room quietly set aside from the dining area while you finish up dinner. Just perfect. The full super affordable menu is, of course, always available. Wherever you live, it's worth the drive drive to the Mine Shaft today for your Wednesday all-you-can-eat Lenten fish fry, and it's just $7.99. Desserts are buy one, get one free. I love that. In beautiful downtown Hartford and just off the interstate in Oshkosh, it's the Mine Shaft. Big food, big fun. Thursdays, buy one pizza, get a second pizza free. Check them out at mineshaftrestaurant.com.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All sports desk. The Bucks are back home tonight, one night after defeating the Hawks in Atlanta. Bucks will take on the Mavericks tonight at Fiserv Forum. Coverage gets underway at 6 o'clock on WTMJ. Doc Rivers' Bucks have won 7 of 8, and they are 10 games above 500.
Everybody on our team is over themselves. There's no stuff, what I call clutter. The guys just play together. They want to do right. It's an absolutely fantastic team to coach.
Bucks are currently tied with the Pacers for 4th place in the Eastern Conference playoff standings. College basketball tonight. 20th-ranked Marquette on the road at UConn for a 7:30 tip. Hear it on 94.5 ESPN. 12th-ranked Wisconsin visits Minnesota. Badgers are tied for 4th place in the Big Ten standings. And the Brewers also returning to action today. Got a split squad affair taking on the White Sox and also the White Sox. Our next broadcast scheduled for Thursday night against the A's, and some breaking news from the NFL. Adam Schefter of ESPN reporting that Seattle Seahawks wide receiver DK Metcalf has requested a trade.
Let's get you an update on the roads right now with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time super traffic. We do have a new crash that just popped up. It's outside of the camera, so I can't see it, but I'll let you know. 4194 South, just a little bit beyond Drexel Avenue. Right shoulder is blocked due to a crash. I'm not seeing much of a slowdown yet, so that's some good news. Once again, 4194 South, just a little bit beyond Drexel Avenue. We have a new crash that is blocking the right shoulder.
Wind advisory goes into effect at 2 o'clock. Gusts up to 50 miles an hour today. Rain in the morning, turning to snow now in the afternoon. And it's starting to fall here in southeastern Wisconsin. About an inch of accumulation expected. Very wet, very heavy and slushy. Could impact your drive home. Overnight low of 24. Tomorrow, sun with a high temperature of 40 degrees. It's 38 and cloudy in Milwaukee.
I will never find another lover sweeter than you, sweeter than you.
Well, it was a part campaign speech.
America is back.
It was part protest, and there was even an ejection.
Finding that members continue to engage in willful and concerted disruption of proper decorum, the chair now directs the sergeant-at-arms to restore order. Remove this gentleman from the chamber.
Yeah, plenty of drama, theater, applause, and opposition from the crowd during President Trump's nearly 100-minute-long congressional address. Trump digging into his agenda as Democrats heckled him throughout the proceedings. Scott McFarland, CBS congressional correspondent, covering all things Washington from Capitol Hill. Scott, did we give you enough, by the way, the song? I kind of forgot what it was already at the start.
Oh, it's a good one.
Casey and JoJo's All My Life from May 1998.
Okay, I even had the year and month of the release. Okay, so now if you could apply your incredible knowledge of 90s R&B to the proceedings last night as Donald Trump addressed Congress for the first time, is there a 90s R&B song that you could use to most accurately describe what you witnessed last night?
Great question.
You know I'm going to say yes, right? Jump around, House of Pain, jump up and get down. I tell you, I was in the chamber. That thing felt like it was going to pop off for a minute. Not just when Congressman Al Green of Houston, was ejected for protesting, but you may have heard in that clip the guttural, visceral response to his ejection, to his protest. People were in a different level of anger and visceral, back and forth. It felt like it was a tinderbox ready to blow. It did calm down steadily as the night went on. The protest became more silent, became more passive. In some cases, people walked out quietly or held up those little signs saying things were false. But for a while there, I felt like everybody was jumping around.
What did some of those signs say? And did you see when at one point one of the Republicans went over to the woman on the Democratic side and just took that sign out of her hand and put it down on the ground or whatever he did? Can you kind of walk us through some of those things that you actually saw that maybe other people just got glimpses of on television?
It really is a statement about where we are politically in 2025, that several things happened and that when any other moment, be quite striking. The entrance by Donald Trump along the center aisle was met by Republicans to the left, Republicans to the right, eager to shake his hand. But Democratic Congresswoman Melanie Stansbury, a relatively new member of Congress, a Democrat from New Mexico, held a white sign within view of Donald Trump that said, "This is not normal." One of the Republicans who was nearby, shaking Trump's hand, then reached out, grabbed the sign, and threw it across the room. And that's quite a break of decorum. And somebody may argue a break of decorum in both directions. But we just seem to be accepting that now. And that's what struck me being in the chamber for just this chamber, for this presidential address that was so much different than previous ones. The breakdown in decorum wasn't just frequent. It seemed to be acceptable to everybody involved. Our kids may have stayed up to watch that last night. What are we saying to the kids when we watch people protesting like that, throwing signs, screaming at each other, viscerally chewing each other out, and then name-calling, including the reference to Senator Elizabeth Warren as Pocahontas by the president, which drew laughs on screen. It's just a different moment.
There were also some people who actually walked down to the speech. Who walked out? How did that play out? And what happened before they actually walked out?
So that was a slow bleed. People did it steadily as the event went on. Some seemed to have pre-planned efforts to walk out. Some just did it because they had reached their saturation point and were not intending to do it originally. It began with a few Democratic House members, one from Texas, one from Florida, one from California. They turned their back to show shirts that said "resist" on them. Then, after a few beats and a few moments, they walked out the front door and left noticeably. Others left, more subtly, including those wearing those pink coats, which were a protest message. The bright pink coats were a statement of protest by the Women's Caucus. Then there were a few. A congresswoman from Washington State who texted me going, "I've had enough. I can't sit through any more of this. I'm just leaving." Didn't intend to make a statement, but walked out nonetheless. There's a whole range of people. And I tell you, looking at the Republican side of the chamber, not one empty seat, not one member seated during those applause lines from President Trump. Even that's a rarity, that there's such unanimity, even within the party of the president.
Scott, I don't know how you would describe this to all of our fans out there, but I would love for you to try, because on X last night, you were writing that there was this first-term Democrat attending her first presidential address, and she texted you about the mood on the floor. And it made me laugh, the response of it, because it was just, it was so real. I know you can't say one of the words, but how could you describe that text to all of our fans out there?
I could say one of the words.
Get the bleep
but
button.
I won't say one of the words. This is Congresswoman Sarah McBride from Delaware. Took office January 3rd. It's her first presidential address to Congress, and I asked her what it felt like being on the floor as a Democrat for your first time in this theater with this moment. And she said it's bleeping weird. And I think that really was the sense you got from the Democrats there. They didn't know what to make of this because it's difficult for them to synchronize on a way to protest. They don't want to be silent, but they also kind of have to be silent. And it's just weird. And typically during these addresses, there are some components of it which unify. Some moments which everybody stands to applaud, where everybody joins those universal issues in which everybody agrees. There was not one beat, one moment last night where everybody stood. And I think Republicans are going to blast Democrats for not standing to cheer those people up in the rafters, those heroes the president was spotlighting. They sat and clapped in their seats. That's going to be a wedge issue, especially on talk radio. But Sarah McBride's a little different. Sarah McBride of Delaware is the first transgender member of Congress in American history. And if you think back to the speech last night, if you watched enough of it, you know that there were any number of call-outs blasting transgender communities in America. And I watched Congresswoman McBride. She sat stoic, expressionless, said not a word, showed no response. That was her first State of the Union address.
CBS congressional correspondent Scott McFarland joining us from Washington. And we understand, Scott, that President Trump is meeting with Prime Minister Justin Trudeau of Canada today. Are there any rumblings on maybe a compromise on the tariffs that recently were implemented?
There's going to be some pressure to come to a compromise because as soon as this shoots up the price of a new car, even a used car, by several $1,000s, Americans aren't going to like this. As soon as this impacts the price you pay for coffee, the price you pay for beer, the price we pay for energy in America, there's going to be some kickback to these tariffs. just the first 2 days of this tariff battle has jacked up the stock market, has rattled automakers, has rattled consumers, and has the potential, just this flirting with a trade war with Canada, of doing real damage to the economy, which serves nobody. This feels like a manufactured, man-made economic crisis. Feels like some resolution is necessary, if not imminent. I think both sides are eager to find a way to save face and get after it.
And something breaking today, Scott. What's the latest with the Supreme Court rejecting the president's request to keep billions in foreign aid frozen?
Yeah, this was one big early test for the Trump administration at the Supreme Court. They're trying to cut off payments for some foreign aid in U.S. Agency for International Development Programs. A lower court got involved. The Supreme Court, in a 5-4 decision, is going to push the Trump administration to work to restore those foreign aid payments, even though they don't want to. The 5-4 ruling goes down this perhaps untraditional or maybe increasingly traditional line. The 3 liberal justices appointed by Democratic presidents, along with the Chief Justice, John Roberts, and Trump's most recent appointee, Amy Coney Barrett, who is taking all types of grief from the Trump supporters online and on social media for not siding with the president who appointed her. Get used to that rhythm as the Supreme Court session continues.
Never a dull moment for you, Scott. He's on top of it. CBS congressional correspondent Scott McFarland joining us from Capitol Hill. We appreciate it, Scott. We'll check in again next week.
Talk to you next week.
12:48 on WTMJ.
Are you sick of not being your bank's top priority? We are too. At Wintrust, we take a different approach to banking. We're proud to be your one true banking partner focused on your unique financial goals. That's right in your backyard. Whether you're opening your first account, buying a home, planning for the future, or starting a business, we have tailored solutions to get you there. Stop settling and start experiencing a better way to bank at Wintrust.com. Wintrust, different approach, better results. Banking products provided by Wintrust Financial Corp. Banks, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
For 70 years, Geis has been the trusted garage authority in Wisconsin. Greg Matzek here saying, do not let that busted garage door get you down. Make a call to Geis. They'll get you back up and running. Doesn't really matter the scale of the project. If you need a new door, they got you covered. If you need a new opener, they got you covered. If you just need a little tune-up, right? Geis can help you with that as well. With brands like CHI and LiftMaster, doors for every budget. They can even go the custom route for you, whatever you need. Swift and reliable garage repair solutions are available. Just visit geistdoors.com. You can also check out their showroom in Brookfield. I've been there. Pretty cool stuff. I saw some folks working on a custom door, getting it ready for stain and sealing. Also, I could not believe how many doors and openers they had in stock, ready to go for you. So there you go. Check out Geis. Visit geistdoors.com.
Find furniture for life from Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee.
New treatments for joint pain are here. By now you've heard about regenerative medicine. If you're wondering if you're a good candidate, answer these questions. First, does chronic pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or other joints keep you from doing the things you enjoy? Golfing, jogging, time with the family. Does it hurt doing the things you need to do, like getting out of bed, sleeping, working, and walking? And finally, do you want to avoid surgery and all of the pain, long recovery, and uncertainty that comes with it? If you answered yes to any of those, you need to call QC Kinetics now. Learn about exciting advancements in regenerative treatments that can give you long-lasting pain relief with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. Get your free consultation today. Call QC Kinetics. That's QC Kinetics. Here's the phone number.
Call now, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474.
From the biggest plays on the court to the comments made in the locker room after, an in-depth recap of every Bucks game in 6 minutes. No more, no less. Bucks in 6 provides game recaps for every game. Hear the high-flying dunks from Giannis.
Puts it on the floor, spins down the lane, and plunges it through.
Or the deep threes from Dame.
Dame time has arrived with 107.
Bucks in 6 on the Bucks Plus Audio Network. Find it now on bucks.com/plus or on Spotify, Apple, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Feeling like winter inside your house? WTMJ's Vince Vetrano for USA Insulation. Many homes built before 1980 have little to no insulation. Anything you do, better than what you got, but you call USA and now you've got the best. Their foam injection method, 35% more efficient than your standard wall insulation. Most jobs done in as little as a day. Some homeowners qualify for thousands in rebates and discounts. Every USA customer begins saving money day one. USAinsulation.net.
USA Insulation.
Wind advisory goes into effect at 2 o'clock, runs through midnight. All of southeastern Wisconsin involved in that. Wind gusts up to 50 miles an hour. Temperatures starting to decline here, and snow is falling. About an inch of accumulation, going to be wet and heavy. Should be able to clear that stuff out by tomorrow. Hopefully get some melting and some drying out. Sunny skies and a high of 40 degrees. 37 and cloudy in Milwaukee at 12:52. Are you a smartwatch person?
I'm not. I don't wear any watch.
No?
Does that surprise
No
you?
watch of any kind, huh?
I don't know. I don't wear bracelets either. I just don't love the feeling on my wrist.
I like watches. I do have an iWatch that I wear, or an Apple Watch that I wear most commonly. Not for all occasions, but for most occasions. And there's some pretty cool stuff on it, right? You can test my heart rate, which I can tell you right now is 53 beats per minute.
You're usually pretty low, right? I've learned that.
Yeah, I think just being a runner, it just tends to skew low, my resting heart rate. There's
Until
also
you jump up on the desk.
Yeah.
Which, can I just tell you, everybody listening right now, Greg jumped up on the desk today. Twice.
Well, I was just feeling a little flat this morning. Like I needed to spark myself with a little energy for the show.
We were pretty up yesterday, and then it's... What day is today? It's Wednesday, but it feels like Tuesday. You thought it was maybe Thursday.
That was my problem.
Yeah.
I thought today was Thursday, and
Okay,
it's
carry
Wednesday.
on.
So nonetheless, there's all sorts of cool functions. Well, there's a recent study about the effectiveness of smartwatches in figuring out how sick you are.
A study by Aalto University found by testing your respiration, heart rate, and skin temperature, smartwatches can tell with 88% accuracy if you're coming down with COVID and 90% accuracy if you're starting to get the flu. However, it's still up to people to self-isolate and stop the spread of illnesses.
That's CBS correspondent Michael George. I don't know if I'm buying it. I don't know if I'm buying it. Can you take your temperature with a smartwatch? Doesn't it have to be in a different spot? Like the sensor on your smartwatch is on the top of your wrist. I don't know if you can take someone's temperature doing that. I remember when I was a kid, my grandma used to take her index finger and middle finger, and she would touch kind of like the pulse area of my wrist and say, well, you got a fever. Like, well, how do you know from there?
Oh, really?
I don't know if I'm buying this or not.
I feel like my grandma would always just put like the back of her hand
Back
in
of
my
the
head.
hand thing would also work, sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think the smart watches, while I don't wear one myself, I think they're incredible. I think they're really neat, all the features they have on them. And I do know a lot of people have been buying them for health reasons. A lot of people use them to track their sleep as well.
Definitely. No, there's all sorts of ways to do it. I don't sleep with my smartwatch on. I'd rather it charge, I guess.
Yeah.
They need it to charge throughout the day. Those who sleep with their smartwatch, I'm curious just how much battery life you get out of it. But beyond, just tracking steps and all that kind of stuff, and you can, line your fitness with your smartwatch, and it's really brilliant. But some basic stuff, too. There's an ECG reading that can detect if I've got an abnormal heartbeat, which I think is interesting.
See, I think that's great. My mother-in-law going through AFib again right now, and I think if she could just have a little watch that would tell you too, and you know what was going on, you could make a phone call, that'd be great.
I'm not sure if I buy that a smartwatch can help determine if you're coming down with COVID. More to come on that.
Seems too good to be true.
Yeah, maybe. 12:55 on WTMJ. The Wisconsin's Midday News podcast is built by Siding Unlimited. Subscribe. Take us with you wherever you go. That will make it easy for you. Text the word Midday to 855-616-1620. Text the word Midday. We'll send you all the details back to your mobile device. Wisconsin's Midday News podcast, built by Siding Unlimited.
Gantner, there he goes. The pitch, a swing and a fly ball, right field and deep. Get up and get out of here. Gone for Swaim, and they've done it again. 12 in a row on a two-run blast by Swaim to win it. Oh, my goodness. Holy cow, do you believe it?
If treating your Top Gun has taught us anything,
The Dallas Mavericks have Luka Doncic, and they traded for Anthony Davis.
it's that the sequel is never as good as the original.
I give you Captain Pete Mitchell, call sign Matzek.
Talk to me, Goose.
The Mavericks head to Milwaukee to take on the Bucks.
Pocket pass to Giannis, who soars in and plunges it through with a one-hand slam.
Our Bucks radio coverage starts tonight at 6:30. We are the home of the Bucks. WTMJ.
Greg Matzek here. I want to tell you about my friends at the Hounds and Tap. It's in Menominee Falls. It's the ultimate hangout for hounds and humans. They really are my friends at the Hounds and Tap. They do a great job. Everything dog-related, doggy grooming, boarding, daycare services, whatever you need, you'll know your dog is in great hands with the folks at the Hounds and Tap. Professionally trained, they do it the right way. 12,000 square foot facility and designed for dogs, right? This is not a retrofit. It's a gorgeous facility. Really nothing like it. Talk about a perfect day, maybe on Sunday. Bring the family out, enjoy some time socializing with your dog, grab a nice cold drink, maybe some food from a food truck, watch a game. That's right, you can hang out and enjoy as well. Food trucks, bingo, fundraisers, all sorts of way for you to hang out with your dog, unless you're just, dropping him or her off for a nail trim or a boarding or a daycare service. It's the Hounds and Tap. It's in Menominee Falls. Visit thehoundsandtap.com, where every day is a play day.
No shortcuts, no compromises, just the job done right. At Exterior Pros, we don't just meet expectations, we crush them. Every nail, every window, every shingle is a step toward your home's next chapter. From the moment we start until that final reveal, we're committed to making your home better than ever. Quality products and craftsmanship you can count on. Go to the pros for your next project. Get started today and save $2,000. Visit extpros.com or call 262-800-4274. That's 262-800-4274.
Tariffs and the threat of their implementation have become a central part of the United States trade and foreign policy. What are tariffs? How are they implemented? And what sectors of the economy could benefit if they're put in place? Join me and Annex Wealth Management's Dave Spano, Chief Economist Brian Jacobson on March 11th at 1 p.m. for their informative webinar. Learn how your portfolio and your financial plan might be impacted and affected by tariffs. Visit the Annex Wealth Management webinar page at WTMJ.com.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
For over a century, local broadcasting has evolved with the needs of the community. We move past the stigmas of opinion journalism and bring the most relevant news online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Tune in this week from 1 to 3 p.m. for your chance to win 2 tickets to experience Magic's legendary duo, Penn & Teller.
Penn & Teller coming to the Riverside Theater March 27th. Tickets on sale now at papstheatergroup.com.
Don't miss your chance to win tickets. Tune in to Spanning the State this week from 1 to 3 p.m.
Penn & Teller, they continue to defy labels and at times physics and good taste. They've invented their own very distinct niche in comedy.
Penn & Teller coming to the Riverside Theater March 27th.
This change has leveled us up while being able to maintain the same quality of service that we've always provided, with no upfront fees and 1.9% real estate commission. We're proud to be part of the Century 21 family, so you can move fearlessly with the added confidence of top-of-the-line marketing for maximum home exposure. And that means more eyeballs and the real potential for the highest price for your home. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated. First off, our 1.9% commission structure helps get their foot in the door, and that's why agents like working here. But what they really like is having the strongest marketing tools available, with the resources to help them sell homes at the highest prices to satisfy their clients. Century 21 Benefit Realty offers what agents like most, and that's to help them be successful. If you really want to believe in the business